What I can see in the camera is not what I can see in the ground.
So the fact that you're a human being, you're supposed to enjoy these rights. These rights are there to protect
the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights voices serious concerns.
Human rights activists in Kenya have decried the deteriorating rights situation of the country owing to a worrying state of abduction.
Human rights defenders say they will remain steadfast in their pursuit of justice for Gen Z youth.
What we perceive as justice is not reflected.
The government, I think, should take its responsibility to protect each and everyone who is in the country.
How inhuman are you to sexualize a kid? And
this year's theme reminds us that human rights are about building the future right now.
It is a very sensitive matter that is marked worldwide annually at the peak end of the year, dated 10th of December. Individuals embrace this particular day to the core, as it is a subject of consideration to every human that believes they have rights which are very pivotal in their existence. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights (KNCHR) monitors the country's compliance with international and regional human rights obligations, and even as the law and the country's constitution protects citizens against violation of their human rights, the country is still grappling with human rights abuses despite progressive and transformative jurisprudence from the High Court and Superior Courts, extrajudicial killings, abductions, increase in femicide and gender-based violence, as well as suppression of peaceful assemblies, and accountable use of power and socio-economic inequalities. Human Rights Day is observed keenly as it commemorates the anniversary of one of the world's global pledges, that is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights (UDHR), a landmark document that enshrines the inalienable rights that everyone is entitled as a human being regardless of their race, color, religion, sex, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth or other status. The declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on 10th December 1948 and sets out fundamental human rights to be universally protected. And as the spirit of this protection continues in the country, we find our route towards Kayole's Pine Road in Nasra Garden, where a refugee-led organization, Youth Voices Community, has organized an engagement meeting with a group of young people, refugee leaders and local host communities in marking Human Rights Day, and a day that commemorates 16 days of activism against gender-based violence in the country.
That we are spending Human Rights Day with our bodies.
They are here to clearly understand the picture and to set things straight towards what most of the time feels as violations to their rights.
So like just human.
This event is so much important as it allows concerned parties to get educated and empowered.
Very aware of their rights and of course
Kamuzinzi Deo is an advocacy lead at the organization and tells me how difficult it is to find justice where injustice cropped first and the perception of justice ain't reflected.
We have a lot of injustice. The law is there, but it's not being implemented. So there's a lot of malpractices going on. What we perceive as justice is not reflected. Even our courts take too much time to work on some cases, and by the end of the day, the harm has already been done.
But what is more weightier?
I was in hot soup, and when you hear someone telling you that, because they don't know what they are doing to you, they're just innocent, but it's like pouring acid on your body. Someone says that, and you're gone.
At your surprise, when you are in the court, you find no lawyer who is in the no advocate is there to defend you. Now, what is the reason now?
the case is still in court.
But my question is this. Is that the refugee allowed to be protected while he has a passport or he has a passport?
I tried to ask, he said, no, I took it, it just came the same way. They have not changed the number, it is still the same. And you see, this is 5 years. I'm wondering how this lady is going to survive.
Challenges that some they arise from the fact that they are refugees and they're not able to speak for themselves. They don't know other challenges like even legal aid, legal counsel and such things.
In representation to such heavier matters, it becomes a blow to many that are in search of help. For instance,
walidhulumiwa, ukipeleka kesi unaambia si ni mlemavu tu. Mlemavu tu, kwamba si yeye sio binadamu. Sasa that thing really pained us a lot, and one of the things we did was work very closely, and good enough then we had a Chief Justice who was listening.
It's so terrifying to refugees mostly. When someone else is talking about it, it's a bit like you have enough strength to talk about it. But when a refugee is talking about non-refoulement, it's terrifying.
He gave us very, very interesting advice. And said, look, our system is rotten. From the top to the bottom. The police system is, the way the police system was instituted in this country was not meant kukusaidia wewe. Ilikuwa wakati mbeberu alipotengeneza police system, ilikuwa ya kukunyanyasa, kuhakikisha kwamba your labor is extracted and unaobey sheria bila kuuliza maswali.
Kuangalia imagine case kutoka 2020. Huyu mkonga hakuna police station na mwanamke huyu. Do you know that is very wrong?
According to Jacqueline Angami, a community health promoter, it seems many do not know their rights, which becomes a leeway to injustice that will initiate difficult actions to be taken in saving the situation.
A lot has to be done, especially sensitization and educating community about their rights. Most of them, they don't know, and that's why they are being violated. Yeah. They don't know they don't know their rights, they don't know where to go, they don't know where they can start.
But by the virtue of humanity, it is very reasonable for everyone to enjoy their human rights just as any other person would have.
There should be any difference between a refugee or a host community. I mean, the only thing is that we are not home. You guys are home, or the host community, they are home. But in the end of the day, we are all human beings. If you're hungry, you'll feel the same pain that I'll feel as a refugee when I'm hungry. Yeah.
Right. Now, let's shift gears a little bit. 16 days against GBV.
With the rise of so many cases on gender-based violence, every corner is insecure, be it at home or in the society, more so to young children that have felt the wrath of perpetrators who know nothing about humanity, adults that have lost their lives in cold blood.
But when she went to the office, they are like, whatever, we're not giving you because it will take forever.
Sudi Umar runs a women-led organization, Girl Power, that seeks to amplify too, but not limited to, the girl child's voice.
How do we educate them so that they can be able to educate them?
In the light of empowerment, but still poses a question of how people can be inhuman to an extent of these brutal violations.
The world has lost humanity to some extent.
How inhuman are you to sexualize a kid under 18? Or a girl under... Actually, it's not only girls who are being raped. There are cases where like small boys are raped also.
People are being killed by the people, their friends and the people they are living with.
How stable is your mind when you're really thinking of like doing something bad to this small kid?
I think some people are just not right upstairs. I think most of these people who have done such acts, when assessed by specialists, they usually find out that there's something wrong with in their mind and in their the whole mental health isn't truly right. And at times these people need help.
If someone touches you inappropriately, that is bad. That's not a way of this person showing you they value you, or because most of the raping cases happens within them family members.
Let it not be that when we get to 25th November, that's when people start to think about gender-based violence. After 10th December, after today, are we still speaking about these malpractices? Are we still speaking against violence against women and young girls? Are we still encouraging men to speak out issues about mental health and such things?
Enhance collaboration.
In the engagement meeting, Ramasani Mulisha was also a participant. He is working with the refugee-led organization Pamoja Toweza, located in Kitengela. Despite being vocal in defending their rights, he still ain't satisfied with the equality and service provision that is offered.
We have not yet received the right, that the equal rights like other people. And also our rights are somehow violated. since we cannot have access to some of the services, government services, and also most of it is that the free movement of refugees is still restricted. So
Mulisho cries out to the government to consider their free movement that many a times limits their personal operations as documentations become a topic of the day.
Being a refugee doesn't mean that you should be only in the camp or in the urban setups, that you don't have right to go to another country maybe, or to do business outside the country of refuge. And I think that we refugees, we are still limited in terms of movement, so we cannot move from here, this country, Kenya, to another country, since getting a document is still a problem.
Any refugee is allowed to work in Kenya. However, the Kenya Citizenship and Immigration Act sort of introduces a barrier to not the refugee enjoying that freedom and right to work by introducing the requirement of Class M work permit.
Well, it's got a number of outcries to these vulnerable persons who need urgent attention.
Right to shelter. You find that if you go in the camp, you will find that some of our people there are sleeping in a very dramatic environment, in a very condition that it is not actually pleasing.
With the image of lifestyle, character, growth and development of the current generation changes immensely, Deo advises parental redefinition as he challenges parents to closely look out on their children every time before it's too late, when danger has found its way in.
Parenthood kind of needs to be redefined. Parents need to realize that we are living in a different world, a world that's quickly evolving, and a lot of things are happening. They're coming in, new technology and new social ways of life. We have people who identify as men and they're physically they're women, and so things are quickly changing.
Are their rights violated? And if they are, what is the way forward? Even as the globe has its sharp eye on these matters, the government should strategize in not only collaborating with stakeholders and organizations, but also ensure that law abides and every right of every human is given.
The government, I think, should take its responsibility to protect each and everyone who is in the country, whether refugee or non-refugee.
I am really urging the government to take action, no matter how small the case is. Everyone deserves justice.
The government is there for the people. Basically, any government in democratic countries has been placed by the people. So if a government does not work for the people, then there is something wrong with that government.
With the look of things, indeed, there is a call for advocacy, education and empowerment everywhere to bring justice to life, as it seems to have died long time ago, thus killing a future that was best intended. If it all goes well, then the future looks brighter.
The future, I feel like the future will be challenging because the world is changing quickly, and if you are not really keen and align yourself into the direction the world is going, you might be left behind.
I really wish we could have a future where we really take every offense seriously, no matter where you come from, no matter if you are a refugee, no matter if you are Kenyan or
like is in danger, since the rights are still stepped on. But if the right will be respected, if all the governments and all services and all agencies will respect the human rights, I think the future is bright.
Calming the situation at hand will need a total member cooperation, with everyone from the young children to the adults playing an agent role in ensuring that this danger, be it violation of human rights, insecurity or gender-based violence, is eliminated, and no one should be afraid of anything but live fully free.
Advocate, educate and empower. You cannot advocate whereas you don't know what you're advocating for, or you cannot educate the society whereas you yourself you're not educated about these things that are happening in the society. So to bring that empowerment into light, all these things must come into consideration.
To protect our loved ones, ourselves and our society, it starts from us. This is Sesmoh Times on Voice with Sesmoh.
Provide for us, our families, and continue to bless us, even our organizations where we come from.